So if you would, could you please get us to pace us regarding what the MAP has been up to?
Well, we have taken flagship projects, and this activity that you're talking or referring to is actually in relation to our #1 flagship project, which is about malnutrition and child stunting. And based on our research and our readings, we've known that in the Philippines, 1 out of 3 children ages 5 and below is stunted. And they're saying that when you're stunted, it's not about the weight or the height, or it's not about the height, which is below the standard, but it's about actually your brain, which doesn't develop. So the cognitive development of children is not full, all right? And that is why their performance when they grow up is suboptimal, meaning they do not reach their full potential. And that may be the reason why, as it is today, if you look at all the evaluation of our children, 10 years and below, we are last in English. We are second to the last in math and science of, I think, 78 countries. No, so in ASEAN, if they look at ASEAN, they're calling us now as the dullest in the Asian region because our children are the last in the performance evaluation of the ASEAN countries. So we were alarmed by this, especially that, we are in business. Our #1 asset, most valuable asset, is our people. And if this is the kind of people that we will have, if this is the kind of workforce that we will have, there is no growth in business. The future is dim. And so we said we should do something about this. So we took this as our major project, which is to improve on malnutrition and prevent stunting, the stunting actually happens in the first 1,000 days of a child, which means from the time that you are conceived up to 2 years old. So many are asking me about, when you talk about malnutrition and child stunting, the first thing that comes to mind, or they ask me, is, oh, nagfi-feeding kami sa school, etc. Well, there is already a program now of feeding in schools, but that is already late, no? As I said, this child stunting, the development of the brain of a child, and they're saying that once you are stunted and your brain doesn't develop, it's irreversible, meaning you'll grow up with that because your brain has not been developed. So that we're saying the feeding in school is already late. We have to start from the mother, because the mother has to be nourished when she is pregnant, so that the child would be nourished. So we start with the mothers up to 2 years old of the children. So that's what we are doing now.
Okay, attorney, I just have to reflect or mention what other people or viewers might be saying. Why is the Management Association of the Philippines getting involved in that? That should be the responsibility of the national government, the Nutrition Council. It should be the responsibility of parents, etc. Why does MAP have to be involved? I mean, you've got enough problems trying to run business.
Okay. Why are we involved? Because it involves management skills. There are many efforts of the private sectors. There are many efforts of the government sector. But if you look at the latest data, it's still it's stagnating, meaning it's not improving. So we said something must be wrong. Maybe we have to wear our management hat and go into this and put, them together, because they're working in silos. They don't communicate with each other. So what we're doing now is, first, we have to manage how it will work efficiently, because I think that is what is lacking, how to manage it. That is why Management Association of the Philippines is here. So what we did, if I may say, is that we have formed 3 groups. The one group, we call it education team, which is about increasing awareness. So if you know, We have in fact released on newspapers, the Philippine Inquirer and Philippine Star, full page call for the government to take this as a top priority agenda. And then we have given many releases, so that's the awareness part. And then now we are doing a pulse, they call it pulse survey, so that we would know when we do the communications and the education part, we would know to which sector exactly it will be addressed to. No, that's what our communication experts are doing. And then we have a second team, which we call for policy reform. It's called Team Encourage, which is working now on policy reforms to address all this. Policy reform in government, policy reform in private sector, because I think this requires a society, all of society approach. And the third one, where now we said is the partnerships. So we now have around 70 organizations in our team for the partnerships and collaboration. Because what we're saying is that we have to move in one direction together with the government. So we had meetings with the Secretary of DSWD, Rex Gatchalian. The last week, we just had a meeting with the Secretary of Health. We will soon have a meeting with the NNC. And because of our calls, Congress will do a summit on malnutrition, etc. So if you read on the papers, if there is anything that we have done so far, it's about creating awareness. So if you read on the papers, there are so many write-ups now and calls about stunting and malnutrition.
Okay,
so that's the answer, Cito. It needs management to move this forward.
Yeah, you have the expertise when it comes to management, but who's going to pay for it all?
Well, it will be, the government has a 10 billion loan that came from the World Bank. All right. So from what we hear, 70% of this will go to DOH to improve on the health and nutrition, and 30% of this will go to DSWD. In fact, you may have read about the food stamps, no? Which is an immediate work of the DSWD to address this stunting and malnutrition.
Mm-hmm.
So they are the ones funding it. Now we have the NGOs, we have the corporate foundations that are with us, and we are also raising funds to be put in a pool from which all the other NGOs and organization can perhaps, if they need it, can perhaps tap on. So that is what we are doing. We are not just on management, we are also looking at how we can fund efforts. And right now, there are those already coming forward, the corporate foundations, that they are willing to donate for this endeavor.
Okay, the question is, who are your champions? One would imagine that you would need a champion in the office of the president, or maybe the first lady, or you would need champions among celebrities. You would need champions in media, and
those are
could
those
you
are
please?
in the works. Those are in the works, Cito.
Okay.
In fact, we're a group of us is already working on TikTok, because they're saying that the lower end of our society spends a lot of their time on watching TikTok. And they said that's a very effective way of awareness and education. Then talking about champions, all right. Somebody actually said the first lady is the best champion for this. And I think some of our members are already reaching out to her. And then, of course, we have the DSWD secretary, the DOH secretary, who would all be championing for this.
I heard that the Secretary of the Interior, Benhar Abalos, actually embarked or at least initiated his own moves for supporting uh, the nutrition of children in the first 1,000 days, particularly focusing on helping pregnant mothers. Now, has there been a meeting, conversation? And at the end of the day, your management, but is there a business plan for all of this? Because I think once the Management Association of the Philippines steps in, you have to monetize, you have to make this, you have to have a business plan on the table. You've talked about communication, you've talked about, what else did you mention earlier? You said communication, and then coordination with government officials, etc. What's the business plan?
Okay. When you talk of business plan, when I say business, it's something that you have to earn money. Are we in agreement with that? And for this one, that is not the main consideration. This one, the main consideration is to help so that in the future we can earn money, right? Because we're talking about our workforce. So we have to protect our workforce. So right now, business is not in the map. It's not even talk about, but it's about protecting our future labor. So that's the essence of all of this. Now, regarding the local government, I am happy that Secretary Ben Abalos is there. We are actually trying to reach out to him, and I think we may be meeting him. I think there are already invitations that were sent to him because local government is a key factor in the success of this. Why? Because this is community based. You really have to go to the communities, to the lowest level, to the family, to the society, to the community at the grassroots. So his role is actually the most important.
Okay, what about the Secretary of Agriculture? And I'm not focusing on the president, but department itself, because one would imagine, and they've been talking about this. They've been talking about urban gardening. The Bureau of Plant Industry has those projects, etc. And like your tie-up with Harvest down in Rizal,
Yeah.
one, just having a vegetable garden in every vacant lot or in every barangay, sitio, etc., would greatly help address this malnutrition problem.
Well, yes, there is, as I said a while ago, we have a team working on reforms, and they are working about on food sufficiency, food availability, cheaper cost of food, the food chain, that it should be available, the food chain. They are working on that. And
Hmm.
this is the team of Shell Habito. And they are a team of recognized agricultural experts.
Hmm.
Fermin Adriano, Shell Habito, Bruce Tolentino, Romy Bernardo, they are all in the team. No, we got them all, and I think Carl Chua is also would soon be part of the team too. And they are working on the agri side because they're saying that at the end of the day, it's about agriculture. It's about where is the food, where is cheap food, where can we
Hmm.
get nutritious food, etc. So they
Yeah,
are
because
all, I think,
if we get
yeah.
if we get Benhar Abalos, Secretary Benhar Abalos, and the Department of Agriculture to work hard together, we will be able to localize food production. You don't have to transport. There are no middlemen, and everything is sustainable at the barangay level.
Yes, in fact, it's not just harvest that we have kabisig. If
Mm-hmm.
you have read about kabisig, we have ARC, which is also on community farming, and then we also have this NVC, Negrense something, which is now producing the Mingo Mills. No, so they
Mm-hmm.
are now working with us. I hope we can move the needle. Our objective is to move the needle faster.
Okay, what's the resistance, or where is the resistance?
Fortunately, we don't feel any resistance. We feel that
Okay.
everybody is working, and everybody acknowledges. And sometimes there are those that are even so emotional that before we were considered as the best in the region, now we are the dullest in the region. So everybody is really moving.